everybody, and welcome to our first live edition of I Am. Are we good to go? Okay. Hi, everybody. Here we are with our first live episode of Get Sweaty. I'm your host, Matt Majot, joined by Ben Hot Take Rayner. And I don't know if you've noticed, but Jordan's not here at the moment. He will be joining us later in the show. But today we have with us the one and the only Suge Knight. How's it going, Suge?
How you guys doing? Thank you very much for having me on. Really appreciate it. It's awesome to talk just some nerd stuff and all the things. So thank you for having me on, Ben and Matt. Really appreciate it.
Oh, of course. When you mentioned to me the other day that this was the type of show you wanted to be on, of course we would. It couldn't have any other guy as our first guest ever. So it's perfect timing.
Appreciate it.
All right. So for those who may not know anything about you, Suge, just introduce yourself a little bit.
Well, I am probably I am just a big nerd. I love sports. I love comic books. I love movies. I love the Schmodown. I do a podcast about the Schmodown called the Let's Get Ready to Talk Schmodown podcast with my co-host Bador, Justin, and Ferris. And we just talk about the Schmodown all the time and, talk about different things. And then I just into just nerd culture. And I do streaming on Twitch. I watch Twitch. I watch YouTube channels. I'm all over the place as far as just being a nerd. So that's my thing. And I'm just, like I said, I'm so happy to be here with you guys, just to talk about some cool subjects and some awesome stuff.
All right, right on. So with that said, let's just hop right into the movie news. Now, the biggest news to come out of the week, The Rock and his family were diagnosed with COVID, all four of them. That's insane. What are you guys' thoughts on
that? It's sad. I mean, and it shows you no one is safe. You have a big guy like The Rock getting it. It could get anybody. It's scary.
Yeah, America's sweetheart should not be getting COVID.
Yeah, definitely. What I did find interesting about this timing and everything, and what he talked about, was he said that they actually had it a month ago and they're recovering from it. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting timing. And obviously you want to respect people's privacy and everything like that. So I have no problem with him coming out saying now that him and his family got it. But it was suspicious timing and everything like that. But like Ben said, it's very sad, and you're right. Anybody can get it. We need to make sure you're doing what you got to do to stay safe. Wearing masks. Not being in big crowds of people. Washing your hands. The big thing. Washing your hands, and when you sneeze or touch something, making sure you stay clean. That's the big thing. Staying clean. And so like Ben said, anybody can get it, and it's really sad that his kids got it because his kids are so young. But they said they recovered and they're doing good, so that's a positive. That is a positive when you think about it.
Yeah, 100%. And it's one of those you hear that The Rock gets, and it's just like it doesn't make any sense because he's he comes off as untouchable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it sounds like Kevin Hart also had it around the time of Tom Hanks, but he didn't say anything because he thought he couldn't say anything.
Really?
Yeah, that's according to the show notes, it's one of those things. Like, I'm fortunate I live in an area where you can. I'm fortunate where I live in an area where I'm not going to get hit too hard, but for people that are located where you two are, it's
hey guys.
It's scary. Definitely scary. Oh, hey, look who's here, Jordan. Glad you could finally join us.
I made it. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Like all the.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I didn't realize all the print shops are closed on Sunday, so that was fun trying to get some show notes printed. But it's all good.
Jordan, this is Suge. This is Jordan.
How you doing, Jordan?
Suge.
How you doing
Folks,
today?
this is only our 4th episode. We're doing this off the seat of our pants.
Yeah, like what you're doing over with your show, Shug. I especially like that intro. That's is hot. I like that.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, our editors and David B supplied the music, so appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, totally. All right, so yeah, just
okay,
ready to jump in wherever we're at.
We just did the part about The Rock getting COVID. So since
Okay.
you're normally the one that does this segment, if you want to take it over from there.
All right, perfect. Sounds good. So, yeah, so we got 2 new Jason Statham movies in the works. So those were actually just announced. So make sure you strap in because Jason Statham and Guy Ritchie, they're going to team up again for a couple other action films. So the first one, it's going to be called Wrath of Man, and it's formerly titled Cash Truck, but now they changed it to Wrath of Man. And then also there'll be a second one called Five Eyes. So let me tell you a little bit about these. The first one, Wrath of Man, is an action thriller that was centered around Jason Statham's M16 agent character, Orson Fortune, who was recruited by the Chitzer Global Intelligence Alliance to track and stall the sale of deadly weapons. And that one will be distributed by Miramax. And then Five Eyes, it's going to have a lot of the writers between Guy Ritchie's movie, The Gentleman, that came out earlier this year. And then let's see. Yeah, so there's not a lot of news out about Five Eyes, but they do have a little synopsis that I gave about him being an M16 agent for the Wrath of Man. But my question to you guys is what do you think about Jason Statham and Guy Ritchie teaming up again? And do you guys like Jason Statham? What are some of your guys' favorite Jason Statham movies? I know I'm a huge fan, so I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, Shug, if you want to go, you can go first.
I mean, it's exciting to hear Guy Ritchie and Jason Statham going to work together again. That's awesome to hear. My favorite Jason Statham movie, even though a lot of people don't like it, I gotta say The Expendables. I'm an action guy, so I like The Expendables. Obviously, was it Crank 2? Kate Mulligan is a porn star number 3, so I always love that movie. But yeah, I have to say The Expendables, but yeah, it's good. I think we need that, some good old fashioned action movie. A good old fashioned action movie, and Jason Statham is a staple for that in this generation, kind of like how Sly and Arnie were back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be nice to see a new kind of movie. I hope they come up with some original concepts and give us something just to have fun with. Not so serious, just a good fun movie. That's my thoughts.
I'm with you on The Expendables there, Shug. That is hands down my favorite Statham movie. But since you already took that, I'm going to go with my number 2, which is Spy.
Oh yeah,
loved him in Spy. He just took took what everybody knows about him and just flipped it on its head. Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah, me and my wife just watched Spy last week, actually. So yeah, that was her first time seeing it. Yeah.
Nice. That's pretty good.
I think mine is Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw.
The Rock and Jason Statham doesn't play so well off each other.
Oh yeah.
And 2 surprise cameos, wouldn't say who, but yeah, made that movie extra special for me.
Nice, yeah, and also I'd say too that Jason Statham and Guy Ritchie they previously they did Snatched together, and then they also did Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and those are 2 movies I really like. The only thing about Snatched to me is that I had a hard time understanding some of the characters, the way they spoke with those thick accents, so I kind of had to watch it with subtitles. But I mean, they're definitely a lot of fun. And then also I'd also throw in The Transporter 1 and 2. Those were 2 of the first times I was ever introduced to Jason Statham. And when I was first introduced, I kind of thought of it as sort of like a B movie action hero. That's what I kind of thought. But the more and more I see him on screen and see what he's been doing, he's been killing it. And so, I mean, I think that, I wouldn't call him a B movie star anymore. So yeah, he's definitely doing some good stuff. That's a lot of fun to watch.
Have you guys ever seen the footage of him as a competitive swimmer?
No.
It's weird seeing that man with hair.
Oh, with hair.
Yeah, no, seriously, look it up. He was a competitive swimmer in England before he became an actor.
Oh, dang.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to say he made it to the Olympic trials, not quite the Olympics, but he was pretty good.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
So our next story. So we've actually had quite a few TV trailers debut this week. So I'm just going to go through a few of them here, and then you guys can just kind of mention any ones you think you might be interested in seeing. I'll just give a little quick rundown here. But the first one we have, there's going to be a new series directed by Ridley Scott over on HBO Max, and it's going to be called Raised by Wolves, and it's going to star Travis Flamel. And if you're not familiar with Travis Flamel, he was a star of the series Vikings, and the trailer, it looks pretty intense. Like, these are some trailers for all these. I would definitely recommend you going on YouTube and looking them up. But Raised by Wolves is set in a distant future and will take place on a mysterious planet, which is virgin territory to humans. So it's a new planet that they're colonizing. That's in the early stages of colonization. However, the series will center on a pair of androids who are raising human children on the burgeoning human home, living amongst colonists who certainly haven't left their ideological baggage back on Earth, since they are being torn apart by religious differences. Consequently, the androids find themselves existing tenuously in the middle. So they're kind of in the middle of humans and androids, and they're set to take care of these young children, and just some like intense things going. The trailer looks pretty intense. Like, if you took Travis Flamel's character from Vikings and you put him in like a futuristic situation, it's almost like the same character when you watch the trailer. So it looks like a lot of fun to me. And then next one, it's called The Good Lord Bird, and this one looks pretty batshit crazy too. It's actually produced by Jason Blum, and it's going to star Ethan Hawke, and he is going to be he's going to be playing an abolitionist that takes place right before the Civil War. So he's playing a character named John Brown, and
based on a real actual abolitionist.
Yep.
These guys are real people. Yeah, that's why I'm excited to see this.
Yeah. So all this is a true story. It looks like they're kind of like going kind of over the top on their character work, but all the story's true though. It's definitely based on some true stories. Let's see. It says that it's based on John Brown's motley crew of abolitionist soldiers during the time of Bleeding Kansas, and eventually participating in the famous 1859 raid on the Army Depot at Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. Brown's failed raid to initiate the slave revolt he intended was an instigating event that actually started the American Civil War. So, and so yeah, you have that one. And you also have Daveed Diggs. He's going to be playing Frederick Douglass, so that's another character in there.
Honestly, can't think of a better casting with that. Daveed Diggs with his history of playing historical characters, and now he's playing like one of the more famous African Americans of the 19th century.
Yep, exactly. So, do either one of those stand out to you? So you have The Good Lord Bird about the starting of the Civil War. Then you also have Raised by Wolves, which is kind of futuristic, colonizing a new planet. I mean, either of those stand out to you guys, or maybe even both?
They both sound great. You mean, especially since I just binge all the Alien and Predator movies. So right now I'm all about Ridley Scott. So sign me up for Raised by Wolves. It sounds great.
How about you, Shug?
Yeah, no, these sound like good shows. I have kind of taken a step back from watching a lot of shows, just because I'm very interested in only certain kind of shows. Cobra Kai was one that caught my eye, so I watched that like crazy. But I never got into like Game of Thrones or any of the shows. I really like realistic stuff. So even though Cobra Kai is kind of fake, I think these shows sound very interesting, and I might have to check them out.
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
More with you. Like, I do like my sitcoms or like my realistic stuff. So that's why The Good Lord Bird actually sticks out the most to me, because it is based on true events. about characters that not many people actually know that played an integral part of the Civil War. So I'm really curious to see how they treat that history.
Yeah, same here. And for me too, seeing Travis Flamel from Vikings in Raised by Wolves. I mean, Vikings was always something that my parents were super big fans of. They keep recommending it to me, but there's just so much TV out there to watch that it's like I keep telling them, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it, and I definitely want to get to it. But so yeah, that's definitely on my must watch list, along with about 100 other shows I want to get to.
Yep.
So yeah, and then there were 2 other trailers that I just wanted to mention real quick. So we have an Apple Plus series coming up that it's going to be called The Long Way Up, and that's actually a reality series that's going to start Ewan McGregor and his best friend Charlie Brooman, and they're going to be going on a road trip on these electric motorcycles from the tip of South America all the way to Los Angeles, and it looks pretty crazy because you get to see so many different terrains. You get to see deserts. They go through the Andes Mountains. You get to see all the culture and the people, and then you also get to see them be on some pretty dangerous roads. Like South America is known to have some of the most dangerous roads in the entire world. So I mean, that's something that definitely looked pretty interesting. And of course, for me, I mean, I'll watch anything with Ewan McGregor. He's awesome. So I'm definitely excited for that. And then there's one other one that was called The Third Day that's gonna actually have Jude Law, and it's gonna be kind of interesting. So this one's gonna be actually a mini series on HBO Max, and The Third Day is gonna be split into 3 different parts. So you're gonna have summer, you're gonna have autumn, and you're gonna have winter. And the summer is gonna focus on Jude Law's character going out to this island that's off the British coast. It's this mysterious island he's going out to kind of explore, and there's kind of some crazy like things going on out there that he's trying to essentially figure out the mystery of what this island's all about. And then also on the second part, and this is the part I think is pretty interesting, the second part is actually going to be done live. So I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, if they're going to do it on stage or if they're going to have like a live broadcast on TV, but it actually says it will be told during a one-off live event in London after the summer section of the show has been broadcast. So I think that's a pretty interesting take on that. And then you go back to the winter section, you're going to have Naomi Harris, this character. So Naomi Harris is eventually going to meet up with Jude Law. They'll eventually interact in the end, but it's kind of more focused on her story and her events on this crazy island. So another couple trailers that debuted this week. So you guys have any thoughts on any of those interest you?
The Long Way Up does sound interesting because I live in the area of the ice road truckers. It's for the part of the world where I live. So I'm used to treacherous roads. So I'm curious to see that show, see how they handle it.
Oh yeah, you're up north in Canada. Yeah, they got all those icy roads and everything up there.
Yeah. Yeah, we know how to drive on like a bunch of people, like the Vancouver rights. I will tell that. I will say that.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, us up here in the northern British Columbia, we have words about the people living in Vancouver who complain about 1 inch of snow and their school shut down. Here, we need like 6 feet. That's when the schools will close. And I'm not kidding.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I gotta agree. I gotta agree with Matt. I'm interested in that. Sorry. Yes, you don't thank you. Sorry. Yeah, the long way up. Sorry, I couldn't think right now. Jesus, I had a long night last night. Okay, I was up until 5 in the morning. It was very tiring. Yeah, no, it sounds very interesting, and I'm excited to see it, especially Ewan McGregor. Obviously, Ben Kenobi. I want to see him in anything, so I'd be excited for that.
Yeah, ditto. How about you, Ben?
That one sounds interesting. Also, the Jude Law miniseries, that sounds like that could be interesting, especially with that live event. I'll check those 2 out. Why not?
Yeah, it's something very unique. I guess it's going to be a mini series, so having the live event, I think will be pretty interesting. I think that's one I'm definitely looking forward to, for sure.
Yeah, I'm curious how they're going to do that aspect, especially with everything going on in the world right now. If it actually is going to be live.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure if they're going to have to do it through even through Zoom or like how they're going to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But well, let's see. And then we had one other movie trailer that well, actually, no, it was a movie clip actually. So they had a 3-minute clip from this movie that I saw that actually really impressed me. Like, so there's this movie coming up that's going to be called Pieces of a Woman. It's going to debut at the Venice Film Festival. So I guess they are having a Venice Film Festival. I don't know how they're going to do it with COVID and everything, but the movie stars Shia LaBeouf and Vanessa Kirby, and basically looks like it centers around Shia LaBeouf and Vanessa Kirby are a married couple, and they actually have a home birth. So Vanessa Kirby, she gets pregnant. They have this home birth, and the midwife that they have for their to kind of be in charge of this home birth, like something goes totally wrong during the home birth, and you kind of find out beforehand anyway. So this isn't much of a spoiler that the baby doesn't make it, and so the whole show is trying to like figure out what happened, what went wrong. And apparently they've said that the whole entire home birth scene is going to be shot in a 20-minute long, just one continuous shot type of scene. So it's going to be pretty intense, pretty dramatic. And the scene that I saw, like Shia LaBeouf is back, and he's back with a vengeance. It's like he is just killing it lately. And so I would encourage any of you guys to go check out the clip that's out from Pieces of a Woman. It's definitely something that almost looks like to be some that end up being an Oscar contention. So I mean, we'll kind of wait and see. But and from a Hungarian director actually that I've never heard of, and I'm probably going to butcher his name, but his name's Cornel Mundruko, but he's known for his unblinking portraits of characters under pressure. And so this is his first time ever making a movie in the United States. So it's a first time director, and that's something that I've always kind of admired about Shia LaBeouf too, is that he always picks some really unique directors to work with. Kind of like he's worked with a lot of first time directors actually. So I know that I don't know if what was the movie that he did with the guy that had Down syndrome?
It's Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah, Peanut Butter Falcon. So I'm pretty sure
really good movie.
That those directors were either first time directors or they were very new, like they hadn't done much.
It's their first feature length film.
Yeah. So I mean, he's been doing a lot of that lately, giving these directors a shot to work with them. So I mean, I think that's pretty cool, and like he's just killing it. So I mean, do you guys have any thoughts on this movie? Like, it sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, it does. I'm not really sure how I feel about a 20-minute birthing scene, though.
I know, yeah, it's just kind of interesting. I don't know what they're going to show, if it's graphic or what. That's just from the synopsis here.
Yeah.
People under pressure.
Yeah, but I think Shia LaBeouf recently has been hitting some good projects, and so it'd be interesting to see where he goes with this. I mean, I'll check it out because he's in it, but like I said, am I looking forward to it? Not really, but you know, it is Shia LaBeouf, and he's been his project, his last couple of things he's been doing has been really good. So I'd be interested to see what it's about.
Yeah.
Got
any thoughts, Ben?
I think I'm echoing all of you. It sounds interesting, I guess, but no tricking out because I love him. Like you said, he's been killing it.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I would like. You know what I would like to see him go back into? I would like to see him go back into comedy. That guy was funny in Even Stevens.
Right? Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, you're right. I
miss that stuff.
What about Transformers? I mean, that's his best work right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Not so much.
The award-winning Transformers.
Yep.
I think that I didn't hate him in the Indiana Jones movies. I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I just think the story around it was messed up with that.
I wasn't too hot on
it. CGI monkeys and stuff. Yeah, he wasn't the problem. It's just what he was given.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep. So that's pretty much all the news that I have for entertainment news. I was just gonna say, usually we go over a little bit of a box office roundup, but actually at the time of the filming, they still haven't released the numbers for the weekend box office yet. So we don't really have much of a box office roundup, other than to say that Mulan was released on on VOD this week, and then also Tenet was released in theaters. So, and I actually had a chance to go see it, Tenet, and then also New Mutants. So me and my wife went on a little road trip. It was about an hour away where the nearest open theaters are where I live. I live in the Seattle area, so it's a little bit of a drive for things that are open. But, and then I also wanted to just mention too, something I thought was pretty cool with the recent passing of Chadwick Boseman. If you go over on the Comixology app, they actually have every Black Panther comic on that app for free that you can read right now. So I definitely recommend if you've ever been interested in Black Panther, or if you're already a huge fan and you've read a bunch and you want to read more, just go over there and check those out while you can, because right now they're free.
Yeah. I hope you guys in the States enjoy that, because Comixology stopped working up here a few years ago.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, you can't. I can't buy anything. I can't download anything off of there. Once they started doing that deal with Amazon, for some reason up here you can't do anything with the app. I don't think there actually is a comic streaming app in Canada.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
sad for you guys, man.
Yeah, sucks.
But yeah, so that's it for entertainment.
I've never read a Black Panther comic in my life, and I would definitely like to, but until they change that.
They got some good stuff out there. So I've read a little bit, not a lot.
Yeah. So is that it for the movie news there, Troy?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so now we're on to the sports segment. We're on to the sports segment. I talk about hockey and wrestling. Today is the first day of the Stanley Cup Conference Finals. You have, representing the Western Conference, you have the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights. And representing the Eastern Conference, you have the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Islanders. Now, the interesting thing to come out of this is Steven Stamkos, captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning, is still unavailable. He has not played a game at all this playoffs. And to see them actually go as far as they have without their heart and soul, it's pretty amazing, pretty inspiring. But the big story to come out of the last week in hockey was Thatcher Demko of the Vancouver Canucks. He's the backup goalie. He hasn't played in 6 months since before COVID hit. And then the starter for the Canucks, Jacob Markstrom, gets injured. So Thatcher Demko starts. In 3 games, he saved 120-something shots and only let in 2 goals. And the Canucks did not give him his first playoff games ever. Got his first shutout in the second game. The Canucks played poorly all 3 games, but somehow managed to squeak it to Game 7. It was remarkable. Even the Vegas Golden Knights in the handshake line, where you can see look on their face when they met Demko, they're like, "Whew, man! Like I can't believe you stopped as many as you did. Like it was crazy."
No, that is crazy.
Yeah,
it's all the more reason to watch hockey, because it's like we're going to encourage people here in the USA to watch hockey, because not a lot of people do. I mean, I know there's fans, but it's definitely like more popular in Canada for sure. So I mean,
well, yeah,
my wife,
it's injected into us at birth.
Yeah, right. My wife is a huge New York Islander fan, actually, so we're definitely going to be watching that series for sure. So she has a lot of family and ties.
Matt, who are the favorites? Who are the favorites in these matchups?
It's Tampa Bay out of the East and Vegas in the West. Are the 2 favorites to be in the finals.
And this is Vegas' second year, right?
Third.
This is their third year?
So they went to the finals the first year. Last season, they lost in the semifinals in 7 games. And this year, they're in the Western Conference Finals again. Yeah, pretty impressive.
Wow.
For a team that's pretty much built on rejects from other teams.
I mean, that's usually the best team are the rejects, right?
Yeah. And honestly, like, in all my years of watching hockey, I've never heard of a story of a team like this, like being this good right off the bat, better than they had any right to be. And they're still competitive every year. It's astounding.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I think Vegas. I'm taking Vegas to win it all. I think Vegas is going to take it this year.
Nice. I like it when teams who've never won before win, but I wouldn't be upset if the Islanders won also.
Which doesn't even make sense with Vegas, because they did play in the damn desert. They should not be playing hockey in the desert. But
yeah, I know, right?
Right.
Well, hey, that's the thing about Vegas. You bring in the people from outside, so hockey fans will go there. There's something for them to watch, right?
No, definitely. They have a good following too right now. Las Vegas. For sure. I remember they have a good following, and probably not as big as LA teams right now, but they're getting a following, and so if they win, it'll be big for their franchise. to say, hey, we can be competitive, and people will want to go see them. And obviously, Vegas is the hub for gambling and partying and everything like that. So it's going to be an attractive place for free agencies. Free agents that want to go and live in a nice area and a really good, environment. So it'll be interesting. I think they could take it. I haven't really watched the East, but I have watched a lot of obviously the West in Vegas. But you said they're playing. I apologize. They're playing
Islanders and the Lightning.
But who's in the West? It's Vegas. Oh, just the Stars.
And
Dallas Stars. Yeah, Dallas. That is very interesting because they not been that good in the last couple of years.
Yeah, they've been getting better, but this is the best team they've had in the last decade.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
haven't won the cup in 20 years.
And another place, Texas. Why do they have a hockey team? This is just ridiculous.
Right, and they managed to succeed. Like just their 6th year in Dallas, they won the Stanley Cup. Right.
Yep.
But yeah, no.
Were they the North Star? Who was the North Stars?
The Dallas. They were the Minnesota North Stars prior to that.
Minnesota North Stars, and then who were the Whalers? Because I remember that team when I was a kid.
They're now the Hurricanes. Hartford Whalers became the Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah.
I do know some hockey. Okay, I know sports, but hockey, I followed it more when I was younger. I don't follow it as much as I used to.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, we're born with it in our veins up here. You can't escape it, really.
Hey, you know more about hockey than the rest of us, so.
Pretty much. I have a walking encyclopedia.
Yeah, just nice to have someone that can talk back and forth with Matt a little bit when it comes to hockey, because most of the time we just let him do all the talking on hockey.
No problem.
And there's only really one big story that came out of wrestling this week. I don't know if you guys heard about that. It's Vince McMahon pretty much vetoing any third-party participation for superstars. Like they're not like it originally came out. They weren't allowed to do Twitch anymore. They weren't allowed to have YouTube channels or anything like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's people are really pushing against that. I don't know what Vince is doing here. I honestly don't know what he's doing here. What the end game is for him doing this. Like, you're just gonna piss off your talent. And even though what the thing that sucks with wrestling is they're independent contractors. They're not treated like it. They're not treated like it. But they're not treated. Yeah, they're not treated like it. AEW, even though I don't find their product better, they actually treat their wrestlers a lot better and give them. They say, "Hey, do what you want to do. Like, do your thing." They even to the point where they are allowed to go and wrestle other associations. I think they've let a couple people go wrestle other associations. So I just think Vince is making a mistake here, obviously. And right now, on Twitch, you see people. Paige, she has a Twitch. There's a lot of people doing.
Her name on that now. You can't use the Paige name on that.
Yeah, well, she now. Well, what she did was it's Sierra now.
Yeah, her real name.
Yeah, so it's very interesting, but you're getting into a sticky situation. He's getting a lot of heat and pushback from people about this. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if he maybe backs down because of fan reaction and everything like that. But who knows?
Yeah, it is possible, but really this is just a case of an old man not wanting to advance with the times. Like I don't know if he understands that by letting the wrestlers do this, you could bring in a bigger, younger audience who might not be familiar with wrestling, which is weird because of how big WWE is. Yeah, it's a big mistake. And to your point about how AEW treats their wrestlers better, well, that's because the guys who run the company are wrestlers themselves. They know what it's like to go through the grind. Like Cody Rhodes was a former WWE employee, so he knows what happened there. Obviously, he's going to do the opposite. So yeah, they're the future of wrestling. And the only way I would ever see WWE approach that is when Vince McMahon finally shuffles loose this mortal coil and Triple H takes over, which is gonna happen.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people have been calling for Triple H to take over. Because they feel that he is more within the times. I don't know if Vince is going to do that because, Vince likes to have that control. Yes, he's had some great ideas, obviously, with Hulk Hogan. He fell into the Stone Cold Steve Austins. He just, the Rocks and everything like that. But eventually, your vision is not keeping up with the times. And so I think he needs to relinquish some control. allow these wrestlers to do some style stuff, and they're gonna. I mean, obviously, you can have causes like, hey, you can't go wrestle at other associations, but let them. I mean, Twitch. What is Twitch gonna do? Hell, just tell them, hey, you know what? You do a Twitch, promote some of our stuff on there. That's it. Like, it's not hurting anybody. It's not hurting anybody. But I think he just wants to have control, and he wants to keep control, and it's sad.
Yeah,
it's really sad.
It is, and that's why a lot of them, like, he owns the rights essentially to their names and to their likenesses, which is really horrible. If they're an independent contractor, you shouldn't have that.
Right.
It's kind of it's a mixed bag. Like, yeah, by independent contractor, by rights, they should be able to go out and do whatever they want. Like, if somebody mentioned on Twitter today, like back in the day, Kevin Nash could have easily appeared on Monday Night Raw and then done WCW Thunder on Thursday if they really were independent contractors. But yeah, it's just a word at this point.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but if anything, too, just doing the Twitch and doing YouTube, like, it just brings more eyes to the sport. So I mean, I just don't understand why. Because, and also, my other only thing, it's not a hardcore wrestling fan, someone who just watches all the big matches and stuff. But like everything that I have seen lately, it just looks awkward, like the whole time. So I mean, I don't know. Probably a lot of that has to do with COVID, and you can't have fans in the arenas, which they need. They need fans. But I mean, yeah. But
what they're doing with the Thunderdome, I think, is a positive step. But yeah, you're right. It's not the same with the fans.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Thunderdome there, Shug?
I've caught some of the episodes, or obviously my Twitter, my Instagram. I have wrestlers that I follow, so stuff always pops up. I mean, they're doing the best they can with COVID right now. Like, that's the best they can do right now. You can't be mad at them. Obviously, like, we have football season starting. We had basketball season start having the playoffs right now, and so they're doing the best they can with what we have. Just thank God we have something. I mean, even within the Schmodown, we didn't think we were going to have a season this year. We had the tape matches up to a certain point, and Christian was like, I don't know if I'm going to have a season. The Zoom, StreamYards has saved the Schmodown season this year. And like I said last night, and I'll continue to say it, I believe this is one of the best seasons the Schmodown has had. Once we get into a studio, I think it's even going to be better because they've discovered new things. They've discovered new promos. They've discovered a new way to do promos. They've discovered new talent. So I think this, going to wrestling, they got to do what they got to do to at least provide that kind of entertainment. But it's what they have right now. And I think fans need to understand it and say, you know what, this is what we have, and be more open to it, accepting. But the problem is with WWE and the pushback from fans is WWE's always told fans, this is what you want to see. And now fans have gotten a lot smarter, because I'm from old school wrestling. We didn't have the internet to spoil stuff for us. Like, when we saw it on, like, you would hear rumors, but you didn't have the internet to spoil you. And so the thing with WWE now is, like, WWE tells its fans, this is what you want to see. And fans are like, wait a minute, no, we want to see this. So there's this weird pull with WWE, Vince McMahon, and fans now. As before, it wasn't, because things weren't easily, like, we weren't in on it. Like, everything now, fans, we know what the work is, we know what the heel is, we know what they're supposed to do, we know the lingo, all that stuff, if it's a shoot. And so it's made it hard to please the fans, which I understand, but at the same time, Vince's has to change with the times. So if you know that fans are in on stuff, you got to change it up. But also, too, fans know that these wrestlers have lives outside and they have to make a living. So, why not fuel that? Say, hey, check out Paige's Twitch when she twitches on Saturday, or talk to them and say, look, we got Monday Night Raw and we have Friday Night SmackDown. Try not to do Twitch during that time, but every other time we're going to promote you. We'll run little commercials during Raw and SmackDown, and lean into it to help them, but also help you, because they're like, when fans see that, they go, oh, okay, they're helping them. Well, maybe I'll start checking out more and watching the Raw and SmackDown more, and NXT and all this stuff. So I just think Vince needs to get with the times and really understand that things have changed. Sorry, went on a rant.
Dude, you know what? I'm with you 100%. I've been saying that for years. Really, the last time he ever truly listened to the fans when it comes to his wrestlers was the rise of Daniel Bryan around WrestleMania 30. It really was the last time. And I mean, now we've got a heel Roman Reigns that people have been wanting to see for a long time. Looks like it's going to be good, but it should have happened a long time ago.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was very confused about that because like I said, I haven't been watching for a while. I have my finger on WWE, but I don't keep up with it like I should. And so that was when it popped up on my Twitter to see that Roman Reigns had won the SmackDown title, and now he's going to be facing is it Jimmy or one of the Usos?
Jimmy,
yeah, one of the Usos, which is his cousins, which they kind of had teased that. Remember when they had Raw versus SmackDown invasion, and Roman Reigns with the Shield, and he jumped in the ring, and the Usos ran in, and they all stopped and looked at each other. But then it happened so quick, people started fighting. So they've teased doing that, which I think then will probably lean into some kind of maybe The Rock showing up, possibly. But we don't know because of the COVID. Yeah, we don't know of the COVID because of the COVID situation. Is Rikishi still alive? Because that's their dad, so that might be a possibility. So then you could probably have a Rikishi come back and be a part of the storyline. So it's very interesting to see what they do. I like the storyline of the cousin thing, but like I said, there's so much that they try to feed you that is you're like, oh, I would rather see this. I think that's where a lot of fans have the issue with Vince.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he does. Like, understand he runs a business, but once in a while, listen to the fans. Like, we're the ones that consuming your product. We know what we're talking about. Okay, so do you have anything in the world of baseball, football, or basketball to talk about?
Yeah, so there's a couple of stories here. One of the big ones I wanted to touch on was Adrian Peterson. So this week he was cut by the Washington football team, as they're calling themselves now, Washington football team. But he was cut by them, and like for me, like he's always been a star of the league. So I mean, I was pretty surprised to see him be cut. And actually, so I have some breaking news too. So he was cut this week, but actually just this morning it was announced that he signed a 1-year contract with the Detroit Lions, so he's going to be playing for the Lions this year. So that's pretty interesting. It's only a 1-year contract, and I'm kind of noticing that like a lot of these players that are being cut, more and more they're signing these short-term contracts. But I mean, that's where he's going to be at. But I mean, Adrian Peterson, he's a 7-time Pro Bowler. I mean, he was even MVP back in 2007, and I even remember too that back when he was playing for Oklahoma. So I'm a huge Boise State Broncos fan. I'm from Idaho originally, and so I remember when they played back in the
Fiesta Bowl.
Yep, in the Fiesta Bowl. Yep. So they played against his team back when Adrian Peterson played, and it was pretty crazy. Like, it was one of the craziest games I ever seen. They won at the last second with a trick play, with a Statue of Liberty play at the very end.
Well, they were losing. And on a 4th and 20, they throw the hook and ladder play. So that was a trick
they had
play
that one too. Yeah, so they had both,
to send it to overtime, and then they ran the Statue of Liberty play to win the game. So I think to score the 2-pointer to win the game. So yeah, it is very interesting. But one thing we know about football, and I love football, so I could talk football all day. When you are a running back, your body just can't handle it. Adrian Peterson had a major oh my god, I can't even he got hurt. What is it? Injury. He had a major injury in his knees when he tore his ACL. He was able to come back, but he hasn't been the AP that we thought he was going to be. That Minnesota drafted him, and so Washington maybe just didn't have the money to pay him. I don't know. I know I got made fun of yesterday because we did a fantasy draft, and I let it go to auto draft, and apparently I drafted Adrian Peterson, and he wasn't on the team. So now who looks dumb because he's on Detroit, and now I'm gonna make fun of all those people that said, "Why'd you draft him for?" Because I knew he was going to Detroit. No, I didn't. I just had it on auto draft. But this happens, you see it when players they start to run out of time, they might just want to take a check, or they think they still can do it, and they try it on another team, and doesn't. You see it all the time where players have moved to another team and just not been the same person that we know. So I wish him good luck. I hope he does well. Detroit could use a good running back. Detroit with Stafford as their QB, this might help him. So we'll see what happens. But it is Detroit, and so see what happens.
Yeah, and also too,
Question: what's the Statue of Liberty play? I
know
a little bit about football, but
the Statue of Liberty play, if I remember it correctly, of how it's run, is the quarterback just kind of stands there like he's going to throw the ball, but the ball is in his other hand, and he just leaves it right here, and he's standing. He doesn't really move, and the running back takes the ball and runs that way. So they'll hike it like this, and he'll get ready like he's gonna throw it. But when he pulls when you get ready to throw it, you pull this hand down.
Yeah.
But as you pull that hand down, you get the ball with this hand, and you put it on your side, and you're like acting like you're gonna throw a ball. Because when you're playing football, you're going 60 miles an hour, so you don't really are looking. And then the sleight of hand is the running back will run this way, grab the ball, and take off.
So. Gotcha. Okay, it makes sense because the quarterback stands there like a statue. Okay, now I get it. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
One of the cool things too, that when they had that first hook and ladder play, one of my best friends I grew up with, Derek Schumann, he was on Boise State. He was the one that they handed it off to for that first hook and ladder play. So that's pretty cool to see one of my best friends be able to be a big part of that play that sent him into overtime, and that was the biggest game Boise State's ever played in. So we were excited after they won that. Me and one of my best friends, we went out into the street and started shooting off illegal fireworks in the air and stuff. We were just like
well, that's when the conversation started about having a playoff, because I think who was the number one team? Alabama was the number one team at that time. I want to say Alabama was that team.
Probably.
I'd have to look, but
sounds about right. Alabama, LSU.
It was 2007, correct?
Yeah. Yep, 2007.
But that's when the discussion for playoffs started, because they were saying like, well, look at Boise just beat Oklahoma, who was probably one of the best teams at that time. Wouldn't you want to see Boise State against Oklahoma or sorry, not Oklahoma, Alabama, or whoever those teams were?
Like Alabama, Auburn, LSU, some of those big teams,
2007.
Was
it 2007?
2007, yeah.
It might be 2006. It might be 2006.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Because West Virginia was in the Fiesta Bowl.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's 2006. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But because I was looking at this, and I was tripping off some of the matches that were going on here. Fiesta Bowl. Yeah, Boise State, Oklahoma. So it was Ohio State and Florida. Were the number one, number two teams, and so Boise State. I mean, and at that time, the Rose Bowl. Like, wouldn't you like to see if they had the playoffs at that time? You would have had Florida, Ohio State. You would have had like USC playing Florida. You would have had Louisville playing Ohio State. It's just interesting. I think that's what's made that change. But then now people are still complaining about it. It's like nobody's ever happy with anything. Right. Sports.
Everyone's always trying to find something to complain about.
Yeah. Right.
And not just sports. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, right? It's everything.
It is everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple other. Actually, one other story in the NFL I was going to touch on real quick. So I'm a diehard Seahawks fan. I'm from Seattle, obviously, but this week they they released Jadeveon Clowney, so he signed a 1-year deal with the Tennessee Titans. He's going to be playing over there. And then also they also released one of their other defensive linebacker, Shaquem Griffin. They released him too. I remember back, I can't remember, it was, I want to say like 2018 or so, but Shaquem Griffin has a twin brother, Shaquille Griffin, and they play on the Seahawks together. There was a big thing that they were drafted in the same year to the same team. And so so they released Shaquem, but Shaquille, his brother, still on the team, still playing for Seattle. Shaquem hasn't signed with anyone, but Jadeveon Clowney did sign with the Tennessee Titans. And I'm a little bit of a Tennessee Titan. I was a fan back when they're in the Super Bowl back in the 90s, and they almost won the Super Bowl against the St. Louis Rams at the time. They're St. Louis, and they just reached in for the last second touchdown and they just couldn't get it across the goal line.
Steve McNair.
Yeah, that always rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
That
was the year. New Orleans was really pushing to try to get Clowney to them. There was even like a big old thing on where all the defensive a couple of the defensive captains were really trying to hit up Clowney and say, "Hey, come play for New Orleans," which would have been very interesting and be interesting, So with Tennessee was a good team. Tennessee surprised a lot of people last year. And so this just elevates them a little bit more. I don't know if it puts them over the top. But we'll see what happens. I feel bad for whoever Marcus Mariota, who just lost his job to believe it was Tannehill that played for Tennessee. And so this guy went from, he beat the Chiefs in the playoffs a couple years ago and all this great stuff. And then now it's just like he's a backup quarterback.
Right.
Yeah, dude, the NFL is cruel. So this will be an interesting fit for Clowney. We'll see what happens. There's a lot. A lot of people are saying we don't even know if we're gonna have a season. They're still worried about COVID, and what that's gonna be like. I think we're gonna have a season, but we'll see what happens and see what goes on.
If they do the bubble system, which is shown that it works with hockey and basketball, anything's possible.
I just don't think they're gonna be able to do a bubble system because how far everyone's spread apart. Everybody, it was easy for the NHL and the NBA because they could put, the NBA pretty much set, they already had their team set. They let a couple teams play some games and then they're like, all right, you guys are out. Here's the 16 teams are playing.
Yeah.
NHL, I think, did a similar situation.
Yeah, they made it to 20 teams. You had 4 teams in each conference do a qualifying round, and then the top teams in the conference did round robin to determine who would place. But what I mean by do a bubble system, not just by conference, separate the divisions and do a bubble system that way.
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so basically, so there's a couple other news stories out of the NBA. They really only news stories going on there. They're in the thick of the playoffs now. But the only big story was Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's been listed as questionable for Game 4. So he had a sprained ankle. So and when you see him walk too, you see him walking with the noticeable limp. You can see him limping a little bit. So he's questionable, but he's definitely from the Milwaukee Bucks, their star player, and I feel like a player that can really make or break their playoff run. I mean, he's the Greek freak. I mean, he's just. I mean, I love Giannis, so I hope he gets to play. And usually, especially during the playoffs, a lot of these players have that strong will and determination. I feel like we're going to see him play, but I mean, you never know. He's listed as questionable, so we'll see what happens.
And they're playing Miami right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Miami's a strong team, especially with Butler, and then they added who is the guy from Golden State? Andres Iguodala.
Yeah.
And so that is a very interesting. If he's not able to go, wow, you're in deep trouble. And actually, right now, the Bucks are up by 1 with 3 seconds to go in overtime.
Oh, nice!
So,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if you were checking that out. Let's see.
Yeah.
Jonas did play. Jonas did play. He
Okay.
has 19 points.
Right.
Middleton is absolutely killing it.
Chris Middleton.
Now Miami's only down by 1. I don't know if there's a foul or what's going on. So I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you have to let us know what happened there. Because for Milwaukee, this is a do or die.
Yeah, if they get bounced out of the playoffs, this is probably the worst thing that can happen to them is getting bounced from the playoffs.
Yep, in Miami is up 3-0. So I mean, if they lose this, that's it. So I hope they can. I
think the Bucks are. I think the Bucks are going to win. It looks like the Bucks just scored. And there's 2 seconds left. So I think the Bucks are going to win.
Okay, that's good. At least get one more game out of it.
Yeah, at least get one more game out of it. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I was just going to give a quick playoff kind of roundup for the NBA. So you have Houston playing the LA Lakers. Houston's up 1-0 in that series.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Yep.
So angry. I mean, you can obviously see my shirt. I'm freaking
right. Yep. Right on.
Me too.
For me, I'm a Clippers fan. So.
You're a Clippers. Wait, do I have control? Do I have control here? Can I put him in the background?
I'm switching. I have no say in this.
Yeah, no. I don't. If you're a Clippers fan, it doesn't bother me. I am a hardcore Lakers fan. I've always been. You've always people see me talk about the Lakers and everything. Somebody was talking to me, and they asked me. They said, "Should the Lakers be worried about Houston?" And I said, "If Westbrook is playing, I am scared of Houston."
Yeah, right.
I am scared of Houston because Westbrook has always just gave the Lakers problems. I don't know what it is. I hope that changes tonight. I just hope it was like a fluke thing and because it happened the same thing when the Lakers lost to Portland in Game 1, and then they just beat them up after that. I hope it's the same thing. But they have James Harden, who's probably the one of the most dynamic scorers in the NBA.
Oh yeah.
So well, I don't think he's MVP. I think it's between Giannis and LeBron. And I think LeBron probably is going to take it. But if LeBron gets beat by the Rockets in the second round, I have a feeling AD is not staying Laker.
No,
I think he's out.
Not either, but you never know. I mean,
we'll see.
They definitely make a good duo over there. I think that they play really well together. So I've been impressed. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but then we got the Denver Nuggets and my LA Clippers. They're tied at 1 game apiece. So that's one that I was a little sad about. 'Cause I'm also a low-key Utah Jazz fan, and they got bounced out by the Denver Nuggets just because I was born in Utah, so I have that a little bit of connection there. And then you got the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors. They're tied at 2 games apiece. So that's pretty much what you have going on.
Go Toronto. Go Toronto.
Oh yeah, yep. I represent.
Yeah, the last time I watched basketball regularly was when the Vancouver Grizzlies were in the league.
Oh yeah.
Long ass time ago.
Yep.
I kind of miss that because I mean they play in Memphis now and they say they're a Western Conference team, but I think that's just kind of it's like trying to balance out the conferences. I feel like
it was like when the Columbus Blue Jackets were in the Western Conference when they were in the NHL. Same with Detroit. It was really, really weird.
Yep. Yeah. So and then the only other story. So I got one pretty big baseball story. So this week you got the 25th anniversary of Cal Ripken Jr. setting the record for the most consecutive games played. So Cal Ripken Jr. when he played for the Baltimore Orioles back in the day in the 90s, early 2000s, he played 2,632 consecutive games in a row without missing a single game. So basically that's 17 years straight without missing a single game. That's just crazy.
Yeah, that's impressive.
It's like superhuman right there. I mean, yeah. So
yeah,
I
you'll never see that. You'll never see the likes of that again. They don't build athletes like that anymore.
No, and Cal Ripken's always one of these guys that have been one of my favorite players. I always liked his batting stance. He would just kind of stand there, like he just like not really even in a batting stance, and then he would just hit hard and just launch these balls.
Yeah.
So he's definitely fun to watch. And the closest person to his record was all the way back in 1925. You had Lou Gehrig with 2,130 games in a row. So I mean, since 1925, there wasn't
until
anyone.
he died. until he died.
Yeah, yep, until he died. And then you had Cal Ripken Jr. come in and break that record by quite a bit, about 500 games. So that's pretty impressive. So, and then also too, you get a little story that Mike Trout, he broke the franchise record with his 300th career home run against the Astros the other day. So he's got 300 there, and like Mike Trout's also kind of one of those guys. I feel like he's an all-star player playing on kind of a mediocre, almost crappy team, I would almost say, but he's the star and he carries them. So I mean, good for him though. I mean, he got 300. So
no, he's been one of the. Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, could you imagine him on a team like the Yankees or something like that, man? Woo!
Yeah, right.
Matt, he just has to go down the freeway and be on the Dodgers, and
that's true. That is true. Switch leagues.
Yeah, but he's one of the bright stars of the MLB. Has carried himself well. You haven't heard any problems, any issues with the guy, and not even any issues with his character or like he's not a diva. He's a guy that wants to play baseball, and so it's good. It's refreshing to have a guy like that, just that wants to play baseball and be about the game and not drama. So it's very refreshing.
Mm-hmm. And he signed a super long contract too. So I mean, you can tell he wants to be there for life. I mean, I feel like he's definitely probably going to end his career with the Angels. I feel like.
You think he's
for sure?
Yeah, I can see him finishing with them too.
Yep. But yeah, so as far as sports goes, that's about all I've got.
Nice.
All right, then. So we're on to the community segment, which is where Ben talks a little bit about what happened in the community this week. And there was something massive that happened. Ben, do you want to go into detail on that?
Right. So if you were watching SEN on Friday, they announced like a whole new lineup of shows. And I thought we would just go into each of them. I have them here, I'll bring them up, and we'll do that, okay?
Yep, you got it.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Okay, do this. And here we go.
Right on.
So the first one is Entertainment with Winston. And this is going to be Monday night at 4 p.m. And going into the Entertainment topic every week. So what do you guys think of this one?
I'm excited. I'm excited about this. Now, what's the premise of this? Of the show going to work? Like, I heard that he's going to take one topic, and that's all they're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I guess they're going to dive into certain topics that come up in Inner Geekdom, maybe questions, and dive into them and get deeper into like Iron Man or something that's part of Inner Geekdom. So It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, this is one I'm looking forward to because I'm a big fan of Winston Marshall.
Yeah, same here. Winston Marshall is probably one of my favorite people in the Schmoedown community. So that's something I'll be tuning in for sure. Like especially like I think it was like Kaiser and Gucci the other night. I was watching that and they're talking about all these things that the Winston Marshall has done for the fan community. Like he went over to Kevin Smith's house the other day and he brought him a bunch of baby stuff, because he's having his new baby. So he brought him diapers and clothes, and then he really helped out Jay Washington last year around Christmas time and stuff with a bunch of stuff. And so like he's really done a lot not just as far as like the like online on the shows, he's done a lot, but also just like in the personal life, people like really like what Winston Marshall's doing. So do I. So I mean, I am excited we get to see more of him.
Yeah, definitely, Jordan. Yeah, definitely, Jordan. I don't know if you heard about what Winston did for me. My mother had a stroke last week, and so Winston actually messaged me, and we had a conversation. And he's just like, "Hey, I just want to make dinner for you and your family." And he actually came to my house and brought dinner for me and my family last week while we were doing the stream. Yeah, and he jumped on our stream and everything. So yeah, Winston's an amazing man, amazing dude.
Yeah,
really big fan of him.
Yeah, good. Okay, so what is that? The next is Sorry, 1 second. The new backstage with Rachel and Ben. Well, Chris, maybe it comes to Rachel Cushing. What do you guys think?
I'm happy to see Rachel come back in front of the camera of the Schmodown in a non-competitive capacity. Because she's got a lot to bring.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. She's got a lot to bring, a lot of insight, So, yeah, like I'm super excited. And I like how they revealed it on SCN. Like he just had like half of it covered up, and they're like, "Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?" And all of a sudden, they revealed that it was Rachel, and like people like just lost their minds. Like I could see it in the chat and everything because I saw it live, and like people were just going crazy. So people really are big fans of Rachel. I'm a huge fan. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think honestly any of us wanted to see her leave when she retired.
No.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is huge news. For one, this really sets up. I think the biggest complaint about Backstage, as much as everyone loves Ben and Rocha, is that it turned into what we were calling like Thursday Night Thunder. You remember how it just turned it wasn't Backstage. They were still doing character work, and I think a lot of people didn't enjoy that. What I like about this is Rachel, she's always just been herself. She does have the Crusher character, but it's more of an extension of herself and not a full-blown character. So this is going to bring a lot more realism to it. We're going to hear from one of the best that's ever played in Rachel. And it's no longer a Finstock Exchange podcast now. It's an actual
exactly.
Schmodown podcast. So
they already have Finstock Exchange podcast. This could be something different.
Yes, exactly.
And also Rachel Cushing too. Like she's not only a big inspiration for women, but also a big inspiration for people that are introverts too. Might be a lot of people out there that are really excited about the Schmodown community, people that maybe even wanted to compete someday, but they're just have that kind of introverted personality where they don't really feel as comfortable on screen, and like it's always been widely known Rachel didn't always feel super comfortable on screen, but she just went for it and she became a huge star, and so that's definitely been a big inspiration to a lot of people.
As great as she was, I think she would have been better in the era we're in now of the matches from home.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, because of that, what you just said, the comfortability issue.
Yeah, and I think that's the big reason why they're able to get her for the Schmodown on the Backstage. Maybe if we were still doing everything live, she might not have been able to do it, but this way we're able to get her. So
yeah.
Okay, so what's next? All my movies. This is probably the biggest hit they got.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, what is the premise of this one?
The premise is each week he's going to dive into a movie he has, and he'll have guests. Like he said, for his ET one, they're getting the mom from ET to be on with him.
Oh, so it's not going to be guests in the community. It's going to be, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there is another one. I forget who it was. God, who is it? From Bill and Ted, they got Bill to come on.
Alex Winters.
Oh, really?
Alex
That's cool.
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be one of his first guests. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is shot right up to the top of my list right here.
Yeah. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, man. Oh God, I can't wait. Alex Winter, D. Wallace. I can't wait to see who else he gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. Just to see Dan on SCN is going to be awesome. I like the fact that these shows are going to be more in the afternoon, so it's almost like you have a full day. You watch SCN, you can watch one of these shows whatever day they're on, and you just have a full day. And then, if you're a Patreon, you'll get the Schmodown match early, and the Schmodown matches early, things like that. So I'm super excited about this. I'm glad to see Dan on SCN.
Ditto. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was something I was just thinking, having him later in in the day because I work overnights, and so it's like usually when I get home, it's like when I'm going to bed, right around the time SEN is getting started, and so to have something a little later in the day it makes it definitely easier for me. Probably a lot for a lot of people, even people in other countries. I mean, they're on different time zones. Probably works well for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm off work at 4:30, so by the time I get home, shower, make my dinner, I'll be ready to start this from the beginning.
Awesome.
Coming up next.
Yeah, I'm glad this one's finally happening for sure.
Yeah, it sounds. I don't know how to describe it. It sounds fun. Maybe cute. Do you guys want to jump in here on this?
Well,
from what I heard is that.
Sorry, they got great chemistry, and this is going to serve as a perfect counter to Backstage.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and from what I heard, that they're going to have this air right before a lot of Schmodown matches. So Thursday they're going to have coming up next, and so they can talk about what's coming up next, which will be the Schmodown match. So I imagine they're going to focus a lot on that upcoming Schmodown match. And for me also, I'm just excited to see more Jen Sturger. Just because like having those post-game interviews, she really did a lot for the community that like I thought was something that like I really enjoyed, and she just had that way of just really like playing off of all the competitors' personalities and just bringing out all the different emotions out of them and everything. So I mean, she's definitely someone that a lot of people may kind of think that doing interviews is just some kind of throwaway thing, but I mean, that's something I always look forward to. Just hearing people's emotion, especially right after a match, that kind of thing. But I mean, just having her in the community, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, she really, that's the only thing for me that's been missing from the stage has been Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very good. What I like is it doesn't clash with the podcast that we do. So thank you, Christian, for doing that. Appreciate it. But this actually, it just gives you more opportunity to see more stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there, but it gives you more opportunity to see more about the Schmodown, hear from two people that have been around the Schmodown for a long time. Obviously, you guys talk about how great Jen is. Brad Gilmore is amazing.
Yeah.
And then you still have the rundown and things like that. So it's awesome that we're gonna get Schmodown with these new shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What is that?
See what we got next.
Matches. Every Thursday and Friday at 2.
Oh yeah, that doesn't seem to have changed all that much.
Yeah,
I think this is just interesting that they're saying Thursday, Friday now. So I'm assuming we're gonna get 2 matches a week. Other than the Patreon matches that we get early, but it's straightforward. Love it.
Yeah, this is probably going to take an effect after all the tournaments are done.
Right,
Yep.
Right. 1-1
Yeah.
I'm happy
Excited
about
about
this.
this.
Yep,
Yeah,
same
did you
here.
see who his first guest is going to be?
It's like kid from Cobra Kai, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Solo. Yeah, Solo.
Yeah,
That's
right.
how you pronounce his name, Solo?
I think so. Yes.
He played
I think
Miguel.
you hear Chris. Yeah, he played Miguel. It's Solo. I don't know his last name, but yeah, the way you pronounce it with the X, it's Solo.
Okay.
Okay. Right on. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited about the one-on-ones with Christian. I want to see, I like enjoying those. Christian's a great interviewer, and he always gets good guests, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, well, for sure. And I mean, like, he was definitely gaining momentum with it on Collider Live and stuff. So now to see it brought back and see who we can bring in now, it's going to be awesome. We can have so many people now because of the Zoom and stuff. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, Christian's always. Yeah, for me, Christian's always been just a really great interviewer because he just knows how to just go in there and just have a normal conversation. It's not one of those things that feels stiff and wooden or just feels like they're trying to get to one point or trying to get it, like have a certain agenda. Like he'll probably go in there with some things and like some stuff he wants to ask him, but then he's always been great at kind of pivoting if the conversation goes one way and he has something else planned. He's like, well, well, screw that. We're just going to go this way because they want to talk about something from their childhood, or they want to talk about this movie they're in, or like whatever it may be. And so he's super good at like pivoting with the guests and really making them feel comfortable and really getting them to feel comfortable about really opening up and stuff. So yeah, I've always enjoyed that.
Yeah, he's who I've had in my interview style off of, just to go in and shoot the shit. Like over on Schmoes, the other guys like to do the structure with the bullet points. I'm like, just give me where to start. We'll go from there. That's how I like to do it.
Nice.
For sure.
And I think the last one.
Yeah, that one's not going anywhere. Frankie Numbers and the boat.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, these two guys, these two characters, the Rundown Boys, great guys though.
Oh yeah,
super excited to listen to them and all their stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
For me, Brad Gilmore's always been a great like announcer, great with like all the commentary, and then Frank Janis, he's so good at with like all the numbers and the statistics, and he always brings that like little edge of the controversy, a little tinge of something. He kind of likes to get all the competitors going just a little bit, not a lot, but just a little.
Yeah, Frank. The boys, some of the other guys over at my other channel interviewed him, and I think he actually might be joining us for something down the line. I'm not 100% sure on that. We might be doing something with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Yeah, no, it was a great week. I'm excited. So many great shows. I'm not gonna lie, I've been feeling kind of burnt out with the content we had, but this stuff is new and fresh enough that it'll get me back watching again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely agree. Definitely agree with you, man.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings it into the community section, I believe, Ben, right? Anything else you want to cover? Okay, so now we're on to our final segment, which is our favorite section. So normally we have a top 5 list. We go away for a week. We come back with it. This week's topic is top 5 TV characters. How this is going to work is the person who suggested it is the person who's going to do next week's topic is going to go last. So that'll be Ben this week, right? Because you're doing next week's topic.
Right.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start it off, then we'll go with Shug, we'll go to Jordan, and then we'll go with Ben, and that way it'll keep it in a circle, and we'll end there.
All right.
So, the premise is we're going to do our top 5 characters, and then if we can, our favorite episode with the characters. If not, our favorite moment.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to start off first. I'm going to go way out of left field from across the Atlantic on this. Mrs. Brown from Mrs. Brown's Boys. Have you guys ever heard of this show?
No, I did not hear of it.
It's
you
on
said
Netflix.
this. Okay.
Check it out. It's filmed in front of a live studio audience. It's filmed like a play. They leave the mistakes in, so there's a lot of fourth wall breaking, but essentially it's a man, Brendan O'Connell Carroll, playing Mrs. Brown, and how the whole everyday family life, and always getting up into these outrageous shenanigans. There's a lot of swearing on there, but it is so funny, and it has its heartwarming moments. My favorite episode, and also happens to have my favorite moment, is the episode where Mrs. Brown gets hypnotized, and so when somebody, I believe it is, snaps their fingers, she starts acting like a stripper. And that ends up happening when she's having a conversation with the priest. And it's from the episode Mommy's Spell. So I would definitely recommend people watch Mrs. Brown's Boys, because it's a look at a different type of life that we don't know anything about over in Ireland. It's like I said, it's funny as all hell, and it has a lot of heart.
Right.
Yeah, you will have to watch it with subtitles first a little bit, because the Irish accents are really thick.
Okay, nice.
Hey, so I just jumped off so I can get my pen so I can write down all these shows so I can check them out.
Yeah, Mrs. Brown's Boys. I know it's on Netflix up here in Canada. It should be in the States as well.
Brown's Boys. All right, that's definitely on my to-watch list now. Awesome.
Okay, Shug, you're number 5.
My number 5 is gonna be one of my favorite shows. Is gonna be Dean Winchester. Supernatural is one of my favorite shows. I absolutely love Dean. Dean just personifies, being tough, but also being caring and being a loving brother. My favorite episode is from season 12, episode 22, where he has that talk with his mom, and he kind of just confesses to her how much he hates her, but he loves her for what for everything that's happened to them. It's a heartwarming moment, and it's really amazing, and so that's why I put him at number 5.
Yeah, I lived near where they filmed a lot of that show, and I stopped watching a long time ago, but it was one of my favorites for the longest time. Hands down, my favorite Dean episode is the one where he goes LARPing. Do you remember where he lets out his inner geek and he does the Braveheart speech?
Yeah, that's where he goes LARPing with Felicia Day.
Felicia Day,
yeah.
Oh, awesome. I've actually met Felicia Day before, so yeah, good times.
What are your thoughts on this? On it finally ending their show? You think it's time?
I think it's time. 15 years is a long time. 15 years is a long time, especially for one show. I think that there's a couple seasons where they could have done better. But there's some good seasons in there. There's some great seasons in there, and there's some iffy seasons. But I haven't watched this season yet, or the season the season before, so I don't know how it's going to end. So I'll have to go back and look at it. I know there was some stuff going on with what's his name? Lucifer's son. I forget. Jack. What's going on? Something with Jack. But I kind of fell off after that, so I have to go back and watch it and stuff like that. But there's some great moments in that show. Just awesome.
Oh, for sure.
So, and then just good old fashioned storytelling was in that show was awesome.
Right? Yeah, you don't see that a lot nowadays, and it's going to be missed. It will be missed. All right, Jordan, you're number 5.
All right, so my number 5, I got to go with a little bit of the feel good, a little bit, but my number 5 is going to be Coach Taylor from Friday Night Lights. So Friday Night Lights was definitely one of my favorite shows, and if I could pick any character, like there's so many characters, like I love the entire cast of characters from that show. It's just so good. But Coach Taylor, he just had all those inspirational speeches, inspirational moments. He had clear eyes, full heart, can't lose, So he had that one, and also like my favorite things were to see like all the awkward moments from him, just to see where like he gets put into situations that he's kind of a little more uncomfortable with. So probably one of my favorite moments is they have an episode where his daughter has a bunch of friends over for this girls' night, and he has to kind of be there as like a chaperone for him, and he just feels so awkward and out of place. You can just see it on his face that it's just not his place. And it also kind of goes along with an episode where with a backup quarterback who's thrust into to be the starter after the main quarterback that gets injured, Matt Saracen. So he's trying to find a way to kind of de-stress and to just kind of just relax a little bit. So he goes up to him and he tells him, "Hey, there's this girl I really like that I really want to ask out on a date. What do you think? Do you have any tips or anything?" And then essentially, like he says, "Yeah, you got to go for it. Like you need to just go out there and just have some fun, take her out to a movie, have a good time." But like what he doesn't realize is that it's his daughter that he likes, and that's the girl he's going afterwards. So essentially trying to go after the coach's daughter, and so he's like essentially encouraging him to go date his daughter. And when he finally finds out, it's just great. Just like interaction, because he's not okay with his quarterback dating his daughter, but he eventually learns to be okay, and he learns he's a good guy and everything. But yeah, Coach Taylor is definitely one of my favorites.
For sure. I've actually never seen the show. I just briefly looked it up, and unfortunately, it's not streaming anywhere up in Canada. Yeah,
so I actually lived in Texas for a couple of years, and like football down in Texas is just life. Like it really happens the way that the show is. Like the whole entire town, especially in small towns, they just shut down every Friday night, and the whole towns are literally at these games, and the stadiums are just huge. You have some high school stadiums that literally look like a college football stadium when you look at them. It's just like it's insane. So I definitely recommend that show for sure.
Right on. Okay, Ben, you're number 5.
My number 5 is somebody's father from a small town in Kansas. Well, Lionel Luther.
Oh, Lionel. Nice.
Lionel Luther. Okay.
From Smallville.
Yeah.
I love this character so much. The way they started him as an evil son of a bitch to where they took him in season 7. It's fascinating to me always. He is a master manipulator. Everybody was afraid of him, and then something happens to him halfway through, and then, yeah, you just never know what he's up to, and I love it.
Yeah, I can't. Julian Glover, I believe the actor's name. So good in that role. Oh man, he killed it.
Yeah, that's one of the shows on my list. I've only seen a few sporadic episodes, so Smallville's on my list. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, now my number 4 is from a show. It's a Canadian show that I think only started airing on Hulu a couple years ago in the States. Corner Gas. Have you guys heard of it?
Well, I've heard of it. Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but I actually have seen it pop up on Hulu. Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite character is the main character, Brent Leroy. He owns the Corner Gas. Essentially, he's one of the many folks that you follow throughout the episode. I've actually been compared to him in real life. How I'm like kind of quiet, can be quiet, laid back. My dry sense of humor. There's just something about him. He's very relatable, and that's what I like about this Canadian TV show. It is the whole show is relatable. Unfortunately, though, I couldn't find a favorite moment or a favorite episode of Corner Gas with Brett just because there's so many good ones. So for this one, I'm gonna have to pass on my favorite moment. But if you guys ever give me a chance, like I said, it is now in the States. Give it a watch. They're only 30-minute episodes, only like half-hour episodes. There's only like 6 seasons. There's a lot of cameos for people you might recognize in there. But yeah, definitely give it a watch. It is very. It's the closest you'll ever get to seeing what Canadian life is like.
Right on.
Gotta check that out because I want to know about that Canadian life. That's like the thug life.
Yeah,
Canadian life, thug life, same thing.
Yeah, instead of the Bloods and the Crips, it's the Habs and the Leafs. Okay. Okay, so Shug, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is from a show that was on FX, and it's not the show you're thinking. It was The Shield. Vic Mackey. Now, if you've ever watched this show is nuts. There's some craziness. I love Vic Mackey. He was just amazing in the show. Even though poor guy went to go play what was it? The Thing in Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Chiklis.
Michael Chiklis,
yeah. What he did for the Shield was amazing. Now, same as Matt, couldn't really. There's so many good moments, but there's one moment in the beginning, and I don't remember what episode it was. I was trying to find it. They have a guy arrested, and if you don't know what the Shield is, it's about basically in LA, a certain part of LA, the police department, and this is a strike team that Vic runs, and so he kind of plays by his own rules, and people don't like him and things like that. But there's a part in the show where they have this guy that kidnapped a little girl. And they can't find her, and they're questioning him. And this guy's just, he knows that they don't have it. So he's just sitting there, and he's like, just being a dick. And they can't prove anything. So the captain just finally gets fed up, and he goes to Vic and goes, "I need to talk to you." So he tells him, you see him come, and they say something, and then it cuts to Vic walking into the room, and he locks the door. You see Vic locks the door, and the captain locks the detectives in the room with him, so they can't get out. And Vic comes in with a phone book, and puts it on the table, and he goes, "I'm gonna ask you, he goes, where's the little girl?" And he starts getting into it, and he's looking at this pedophile, and the pedophile is just like, "What do you think you're gonna do?" So then Vic goes, he goes, "I have a 12-year-old daughter. Want me to bring her down? You can spend some time with her." And the guy starts "Wait, what?" And he's like, "You would really do that?" And then Vic just picks up the phone book and just starts beating him with it. And the guy's screaming. He's like, "Help me, help me." And he's like, You're not supposed to do this. You're a cop." And he's like, "I ain't." He goes, "Yeah, but I ain't that kind of cop." And just beats him. walks out of the room, and he tells the captain, "She's at this address." And they go and they find the little girl. It is amazing, that scene. If you, I gotta find out what episode it was, but it's amazing of how it was done and how Michael Chiklis played that part. So I definitely recommend, if you haven't seen The Shield, go watch it. Amazing
I
show.
just added it to my list, and after hearing now you talk about it, and hearing Kate talk about it, and Roka talk about it, I think it's time I finally sit down and watch it.
Yeah, you definitely got to.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan, your numero 4.
So my number 4, I got to go with a classic. So, and this is something that I mentioned this a couple of times before, but I grew up in a Mormon household, and so there's a lot of stuff that just wasn't allowed in our house. My dad was strictly against us watching The Simpsons, but my favorite character from The Simpsons was always Bart Simpson, and I don't know. It was more of a rebellious thing, or if it was just more just like, I just love that show. I'm gonna watch it no matter what. So sorry, Dad, if you're watching, but behind his back, I watched almost every episode of The Simpsons, and I just like fell in love with it. And like to this day, there's just so many quotable moments. There's hundred and hundred. That show's been iconic. It's been on the show now. I think they're into their like 30 something. I want to say 35, 36. I want to say.
They started
that much,
the year I was born, so 87.
Yeah, so they've been going for a very long time. But Bart's just been always someone that like I've always felt like if I could relate to. I've always been someone who just hates authority. I don't mesh well with teachers. I don't mesh well with cops. I don't mesh well with anyone in authority, bosses at work trying to tell me what to do. So it's just something that I'm related to pretty well, and probably my favorite episodes, because I'm always been a fan of the more earlier seasons, but I don't discredit some of the newer stuff. Like they are doing some pretty good stuff with some of the newer season. Although a lot of people complain about the newer stuff, I don't really see that it got really that bad. Maybe while they were filming the movie, it kind of dipped a little bit because their focus was on the movie. But for me, my favorite episode from Bart has, well, I have 2 of them, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. I have one where the Simpsons get a pool, and so where they have like the whole entire neighborhood over, and they're all swimming in their.
This is the one where Bart breaks his leg, right?
Yeah, the one where he breaks his leg, and then you have Bart getting ready to jump from his window into the pool. You have Nelson. He goes, "Hey Bart, your epidermis is showing," and he's like, "Huh, what?" And he says, like technically, your epidermis is your elbow, so it's always showing. It's like, no, okay.
Wow.
So, yeah, and then also the one where Bart and Milhouse decide to skip school, and they go on like a squishy bender. So they like go over to the Quickie Mart, and they're like, "Would you like a super squishy with super syrup?" And he's like, "Yes, I'd like a squishy, one that's made entirely out of syrup." And it's like they're getting like totally drunk off of it, and they start hallucinating and seeing all kinds of crazy stuff, and then they just go like running through town and stuff, just causing chaos and just having almost like a Ferris Bueller kind of day, just like skipping school, just having a blast. So yeah, those have been 2 of my favorite episodes featuring Bart. So
nice. I haven't watched Simpsons in years, man.
That's amazing, actually, that you brought it up.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, Ben, you're number 4.
My number 4 involves an island.
Ooh, I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, me too.
Something down a hatch.
Ooh.
My number 4 is Desmond from
Ooh. I almost wanted to pick him. I was debating with my wife because she was kind of brainstorming with me, and we mentioned Desmond.
I could have picked anybody. What?
So I was gonna say, so why is he your favorite?
He's my favorite because there's something so fascinating about him. He's special, but they really never go into it. And you really feel bad for him because he's kind of trapped in this island. He always ends up there, never wanting to be there. And he's separated from his love. And my favorite moment of him is in the season 4. I think it's the season 4 finale, when he finally reunited with his fear, with his love, Penny.
Yep, that is
I
an
mean,
epic episode.
What?
That's an epic episode, yeah.
Yeah. He's great. I love him as a character so much. That's my number 4. Yeah, my number 4.
Right on.
Now, I would argue
still
just say
haven't seen
that
Lost.
like that moment might be one of the greatest episodes of TV period like ever made. Like it's just like even in like from like critics and stuff. Like I've heard a lot of critics say that that's like one of the best episodes of TV. So, but yeah, here's a little piece of trivia for you, Ben. So where I work in a grocery store, they always play like the like elevator music while we're working over the speakers, and so that they always play the song when you first find out that it's a hatch and you see someone put on the record player and then the song play your own kind of music.
Yeah.
Play your own special song, even if nobody else sings along. They play that every night, so it always reminds me of Desmond from Lost. That song.
Nice. All right, my number 3 is a man who doesn't half-ass 2 things; he whole-asses 1. Ron Swanson.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Ron Swanson, man. I've got the Ron Swanson's Pyramid of Greatness on my wall at work. He's a breath of fresh air, kind of, and it's nice to remind what a weird look at a real man's supposed to look like. My favorite episode is Ron and Tammy too. It's the one where he gets in the kimono with the dreadlocks and with like the shaved mustache. Yeah, I didn't shave it with friction. Oh,
yeah,
just so funny. This is the stuff that Nick Offerman is willing to do. But my favorite moment, however, is the moment at the little Sebastian farewell concert where he goes to light the torch and the fireball explodes in his face. And like the next scene you see him, he's like missing his eyebrows, part of his hair, his mustache is all gone.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, Ron Swanson, you definitely you don't get more original than him. He's one of those they broke the mold when they made him sort of thing. Yeah, I cannot say enough good things about Ron Swanson. He's my number 3.
Yeah, and if I were to put it in the top 10 terms from the top 10 show with John Roque and Matt knows, that one is a punt for me. So that one's on my list, but it's a little higher up. I'll tell you that.
Okay then. All right, we'll talk number 3.
Yep, I'll talk about mine later.
Yeah.
My number 3, I'm going to animation. It's one of my favorite characters ever in comic books. One of my favorite characters in movies. But in this adaptation of him, he was, I think, one of the best characters. And that is Wolverine from the 90s X-Men cartoon.
Oh, yes.
Just how he was in that show is one of my favorite Wolverines. Even over probably Hugh Jackman, other than Logan. Maybe Logan is the only one that would go above that, but the 90s Wolverine is one of my favorites. Best moment is it's one of the last seasons is when he teams up with Captain America. He has a flashback about teaming with Captain America. But the best episode that he was in is probably the Phoenix Saga. The 4 episodes 3 or 4 episodes. It was one of the best of seeing Wolverine in the X-Men animated series. He's just one of my favorite characters of all time, so I had to put him up there. He is always going to be a top 3 for me. So.
Nice. I have seen episodes of that, but that's a show that slipped by me in the 90s. It just seems like every time I saw it on, it was the same episodes over and over again. So
I watched it. I watched it every Saturday. Grew up watching it. I was watching it with my son the other day. I said, you know how hard it was? You had to, if something happened, you had to wait for another week to watch it, and then they usually go like 3 episodes, before stuff gets resolved. So it was a pain in the ass growing up in the 90s.
Yes, it was. Yep. Yes, it was.
Yep, I definitely grew up watching the X-Men the animated series. I've seen every single episode. So actually, I used to have the theme song as my ringtone on my phone.
How you feel about X-Men is how I feel about Spider-Man for the same era.
Oh yeah, and actually though, like X-Men and Spider-Man were the two big like comic book characters / groups that I grew up with. And my favorite moment, I have to say, is when he teams up with Spider-Man, the episode where he does that. So Yep.
All right. So Jordan, you're number 3.
So my number 3, this is a series I've been wanting to rewatch for a long time. I think it's on my list like this week or next week. I'm going to start it. But is the character Walter Bishop from the TV show Fringe. So yeah, and Fringe was something that like I didn't watch when it first came out. It took me a few years to really get into it because I was always a huge fan of the X-Files, and I'm like, oh, it just seemed like another ripoff of the X-Files, you know. But then it was produced by J.J. Abrams, and I just caught just a random episode on TV one night when I was flipping through channels, and like from the moment that I started watching, I was just hooked. Just like what John Noble is able to do, the character Walter Bishop, just so great because he brings humor, he brings just like some like really dramatic, heartfelt, feel good moments, like just so many different things. But probably if I had to pick a favorite episode, they have an episode that's called "Welcome to Westfield." So it's basically where the whole team they got to this town. And I think I want to say upstate New York, but it's kind of out in the country, and they end up getting trapped in this town. And one of those things that like they're like trying to drive out of town, and no matter how many times they try to drive out of town, they're just trapped in this town. And I'm like, what's going on? Did you take a wrong turn? Like we can't get out of this town. And then there's just a hilarious moment where Walter Bishop, because the character himself has a lot of anxiety. Actually, for years and years, he was in a mental institution, and then they finally got out of the mental institution, but he never went outside. He just stayed in this lab all the time at the FBI headquarters, and he just worked at this lab. And then finally, he was able to get enough courage to leave town, and then he ends up going to this town where they get trapped in the town. And he has this moment where he has this like weird obsession with just random foods at random times. He wants random food. So he wants some rhubarb pie. He's just obsessed with this rhubarb pie. So he goes and finds this diner. He orders a piece of rhubarb pie, and the guy behind the counter, he's like, you're the first person to order this pie in a very long time. So I'm gonna give it to you on the house, and no charge for it. And then he seems pretty happy, but then like you see some kind of glitch on the screen, and he's sitting there waiting for his pie, and the guy turns around, he's not doing anything, and so he's like, excuse me, you're gonna get me some pie? And he's like, what? He's like, can I help you? What are you doing here? Kind of like the time almost reset, and like he didn't even remember Walter even being there. And so it happens over and over. It happens about 3 times, and like he starts having like a really big like anxiety attack because he's wondering what's going on. And it starts as a comedic moment that really turns into this really heartfelt moment. Eventually the other guy, because he works with his son's one of the FBI agents, so his son comes and finds him, and then his partner, played by an actress named Anna Torv, who's an incredible actress. Like she is really great in that role. And then you also have, the name spaces me, but it's the guy from John Wick who's like the front desk clerk at the Continental. I don't know if you guys can think
I know
of his
who you're
name,
talking
but
about.
yeah. But anyways, he's awesome too. He plays one of their like superior officers. So so he pops up, and just a great all around show. But definitely John Noble, you probably recognize him. He was in Lord of the Rings. I think he played King Theoden in Lord of the Rings. So so I mean, he's definitely one of my favorite actors in general. But yeah, that would be my number 3.
Nice.
All right, Ben, you're number 3.
Well, it's funny because my number 3 and you're my number 3 kind of similar. Michael Scott.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's so naive. I think that's the best way to describe him, right?
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
And my favorite moment in the whole episode, like dinner party.
Oh,
yeah.
Yep. that was great.
Your favorite moment isn't where he has to stop where he has to stop doing the jokes and everything, and then John Krasinski goes, oh, you always left me satisfied. He goes, and he keeps doing the innuendos, and he goes, "That's what she said."
Yeah.
they gotta pull him back into the office. It's one of my favorite. Yeah, I wanted to put Michael Scott on my list, but yeah.
The
Same,
only
I
reason
wanted to
it's
have
not on mine is because I've only done one watch through of the series. I really need more, but yeah, I love him. Truthfully, though, my favorite from the show is Creed. I love Creed.
Oh, Creed is hilarious. When they pick him up on the side of the road in the bus, he's like, "Oh, I skipped work today."
Yeah.
Yep.
Or on when they're at the office on a Saturday, and he walks out, and he's like, "What are y'all doing here?" There's some good moments.
Yeah.
So now is the dinner party? Is that the episode where Michael gets the plasma TV, but it's just this tiny little TV? Yeah, and he's like trying to show everyone his impressive plasma TV, but just a little tiny thing. It's just hilarious.
Jan breaks it. Yeah.
Yep.
The dinner party was Jan and Michael, Pam, and Jim, and it was Dwight and his old babysitter, if I'm not mistaken.
And then Troy and Nanny.
That's what it was. Nanny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that show was amazing. I really have to do another rewatch.
Same. I need to do it too.
Yeah, I was in the middle of binging it on Netflix, and then I went and bought the complete series at Walmart.
There you go.
Yeah.
The Office is like definitely one of those shows when there's nothing else to watch on TV, you can definitely fall back on The Office every time.
Yeah,
especially
for sure.
for like Netflix, it's like everyone's go-to. So
yeah, no, it's definitely a good show. I'm really upset that I didn't catch it sooner than last year, but that's just the way she goes.
Yeah.
Hey, my number 2 is from your favorite show, Jordan.
let's see what it's gonna be.
Mr. Feeney.
Feeney.
I love this movie. Sorry, go ahead there, Shook.
Oh no, Boy Meets World is what.
Yeah.
Feeney, right?
And what I love about Feeney is surrounded by all this zaniness, even though he has his moments, he's always the moral center of the show. And the moment that best exemplifies that is both my favorite moment and my favorite Feeney episode, and it is the final episode, Brave New World.
Yes,
when he's giving the farewell speech to the students, and they're trying to get him to say "I love you," and he won't do it until they leave, and he's just like, "I love you, all of you." But my favorite moment is when he tells them, "I've actually got it right here. Just give me one moment." When he tells them, "Believe in yourselves, dream, try, and do good," which is all any of us could ever expect to do in life. And for me, he's always been like my teacher in a way. Every time I watch that series, and I watch it a lot. He's a character I'll always be grateful for, and I don't think I could ever live without. And of course, as you said earlier, the
Feeney, yep, and if you don't cry at that final episode, you don't have a soul. I mean, seriously, it's like it's so good. And yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Boy Meets World is my favorite show of all time. So I've had a chance to meet Will Friedle at a Comic-Con I went to, so I got pictures with him, so that was cool. And then I met some of the cast through a Zoom call that I did. They had a special Zoom call where they did a commentary for a select few people that had limited tickets, and I was able to jump on there and get tickets, and they did that commentary, so that was cool too. But yeah, Feeney is great.
That's dope. Boy Meets World was one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, that's another one. I own a whole series on DVD, and it's just that moment is probably one of the most perfect series finales I've ever seen.
Yeah,
because it brings closure to all the characters, and especially with Sean.
Yeah, especially
Definitely agree.
Yep, Sean was almost on my list.
Yeah, same here. It was a toss-up between Sean and Mr. Feeney, but I had to go with Mr. Feeney just because of what he meant to me personally. Okay, Shug, what is your number 2?
Well, I went with another cartoon character, and I just want to say his name. You can probably rattle off like 10, 15 moments right off the top of your head. But that is Peter Griffin from... that guy is just hilarious. Obviously... moments are the chicken fights are hilarious. Going back to the future and find why he fights with the chicken is hilarious. His little quips, his little jokes are hilarious. The burgers that were Yeah, his bird is the word episode is hilarious where he meets Jesus and there's just so many things. So Peter Griffin's one of my all-time favorite characters on TV.
And the Church of the Fawns. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some, and there's also some of his jokes can get real close to like borderline, like, shit, you went there, like,
especially back in the early episodes. Oh god,
yeah. I think one of my favorite ones, even though I love the movie, when they're in the safe room and they're all about to die in the water, and he goes, "Yeah, they're like Godfather," and everyone just starts talking shit to him. They're like, "What? What do you mean you didn't like Godfather?" So I love it.
Yeah, I haven't watched. There's another one I haven't watched in years, just because I guess it kind of after a while I got bored with it. But I do like to watch the occasional Peter Griffin moment on YouTube, and yeah, he's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And my favorite Peter Griffin moment is like a really random one out of left field, but it's like we're trying to teach Chris how to stand up to a bully. So he's like, I'm going to teach you how to stand up to a bully, and I'm going to teach you that if you wear your sweatshirt with the hood up and you pull the strings tight, and you spit out a candy bar, it looks like an anus. And he just does it as it comes right out. I'm like, what the frick is that?
Right. That's hilarious.
Oh, so good.
Okay, there, Jordan, you're numero 2.
All right, so my numero 2, and I have to preface this with my Mormon family, forgive any language because this character is synonymous with this, but my numero 2 is the character Jesse Pinkman, so I got to give a yeah bitch, yeah bitch magnets. Like that's probably one of my favorite moments from the whole entire series when they do the whole magnet thing and they get they would erase the computers from the evidence locker. So that's definitely one of my favorite moments. And then also one of my other favorite moments is when they get to fly in their super clean meth lab and they have to go and try and catch this fly and Jesse just like, screw it, who cares? But Walt's just like, no, we cannot proceed until we catch this fly. And it's this whole thing of them trying to catch the fly over and over, and they just can't do it. Like they just so many times. It's just so good. And then also there's so many moments. I'll just name one more. Is probably the most intense edge of your seat episode for me was when they did the whole train heist and they have to get the methylamine off of a moving train, and then at the very end you get to see. You see another good insight into the character of Jesse Pinkman when the kid on the motorcycle shows up, and you see I forget the redheaded guy that's with them. He goes and just shoots him because he's a witness to their crime they just committed. So he shoots him and he kills him, and you see him just lose it. He's like, "No, what'd you do?" And he's just, you can see the emotion in his face and just, oh yeah. I mean, Jesse Pinkman is just amazing. And also, I'm from Idaho. He's from Idaho too. He actually went to my rival high school. I think I mentioned this on a previous episode, but I'm pretty sure that I've been to his house once back in high school, but it wasn't that I was friends with him necessarily. I think it was a friend of a friend, but I was definitely at his house once. So that was kind of a surreal moment looking back on. At the time, I mean, he wasn't anything big, but he is now.
Yeah, no kidding. Aaron Paul. Again, I still haven't watched that show either. It is on my list. Yeah. Okay, there, Ben. You're number 2.
My number 2 is George Costanza from Seinfeld.
Nice.
Yes. Major shrinkage.
Major shrinkage.
It shrinks like a frightened turtle.
He cheated in the contest, and you still love him.
Yep, right. Sure. Only George Costanza would cheat like that.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say about him? My favorite moment is the double dip the ship.
Yes, that is good.
Yeah, that's my favorite moment of him. One of them.
Mine is the naughty photo shoot.
Oh yeah. As like,
Nazi,
like
no soup Nazi.
Yeah.
No soup Nazi. I didn't get bread.
Yep.
Would you like some bread? Yes. $4. But you gave no soup for you.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And my favorite moment is the infamous candy bar lineup where he's at the mechanics and his candy bar is dangling, and then he finds out somebody buys a candy bar and he gets his candy bar that he was supposed to get. So he freaks out. He's trying to figure out which candy bar is which. And he does a whole candy bar lineup, and he goes in there. And they're just like some random guy just eating all of his candy bars that he paid for this whole candy bar lineup that he went. It was like totally ridiculous in the first place. Yeah, good times.
Yeah.
All right, now we're on to our number ones. Mine is Chandler Bing.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, think what you will of the show, but Chandler Bing is my spirit animal. Let's just say that. I can relate to the awkwardness. I can relate to the hopelessness. I too make jokes in uncomfortable situations. It's not as witty as his. I have around my family, especially. I'm a massive smartass. There's just so much I can relate to with that character. I even do some of his mannerisms sometimes without thinking of it. Like if I break out dance, I start doing his weird dance. Yeah, I took a lot of stuff from him. And I actually was watching this episode before we all joined in the chat. But my favorite moment in episode is the two-parter, the one with the proposal, where he proposes to Monica. And my favorite scene is when he goes to Richards and he thinks that he's completely screwed everything up, and he's just like, he professes his love for Monica. And it's this very serious, mature moment from a character who's never serious or mature. And it just gets you. And then when he runs home and Joey intercepts him in the hallway and says, dude, she's gone. She left. She went to her parents with her bags. Doesn't want you to call her. He's just heartbroken, and he enters the room, and there's Monica standing there, ready to propose. And it's just, I was watching it just before this, and I was crying. I was like, I gotta get these out of my eyes before I go on the screen. It's so beautiful, and it's just more, like I said, a lot of people shit on Friends nowadays, but it has great moments, and that is one of the best moments of the show. Is the proposal. And it makes me want to go back and watch more Friends. But that's my number one, and that's my favorite moment episode.
That's awesome.
I just always like Joey when he's like, "Hi." He's like, "Hi, I'm Chandler Bing. Could I be wearing any more clothes?"
Yeah,
comes in with his entire wardrobe on.
Yeah, no, it's definitely got its moments.
Yeah.
All right, Shug, you're numero uno.
My number one character that I love from a TV show is actually a new TV show, or not really a TV show, but a new show. And that's from Cobra Kai, and that is Johnny.
Yep.
Yes,
I love Cobra Kai. Cobra season 1 to me was very nostalgic, very it was like, oh yeah, cool, we're respected and everything. But season 2 to me was better than season 1.
Yes,
and especially with the character of Johnny Lawrence. You got to find out more about him. You got to find out things about him. But the episode that really drew me to him was the second episode of season 2, Fire and Ice. And it's a scene where he's sitting at a burger joint with Miguel, and he's telling Miguel, he goes, I failed my son. He was being born over here, and I was over here freaking out. He goes, but I'm not going to fail you. The best thing in life that I have right now is teaching you, and I'm not gonna let that go, or I'm not gonna let anything happen to that. And so it just hit home. It was an awesome moment. Shows that William Zabka can still act. Guy looks amazing, even though Ralph Macchio looks amazing. What they did with Johnny Lawrence, I really enjoyed his arc and his backstory. So.
Oh, for sure. And that really hits home later in the season where he reunites with his friends. He goes on that one last bike ride. Yeah, that for me is my favorite Johnny episode.
Yeah, I was watching that episode before while I was eating, when I was messaging you about what time we were going to start. But I was actually watching that episode where he meets up with his old Cobra Kai buddies. So
yeah, and one of them was really dying of cancer in real life. That's why they put it in the show.
Oh, okay.
And then he passed away actually right after.
Yeah, not that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I think it was like a month after that episode came out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I never thought that William Zabka would be someone that could actually lead a show like that. Like when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, they're going to focus on on Johnny Lawrence, but like, man, he blew it out of the water. Like, in my opinion, and I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but like, I think that Cobra Kai, the series, is almost better than the original movies. Like, they did such a phenomenal job that, like, it's just, I mean, it's tough. Sometimes I like the movies better. Sometimes I like the show. So it's just, it's just kind of interesting. But I am super curious about what they're going to do with season 3. I've heard rumors they're going to film in Japan. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like what's going on, but like,
there's
I'm
also
super
the tease
excited
of Ali.
Yep. Yeah. So
hands down, though, the best thing about season 2 is the final episode fight.
Final episode fight was incredible. That's one of the best fights, like fight choreographies I've almost ever seen. Like that was amazing.
That show is way better than it has any right to be.
Yeah, right. And the show, the premise and everything is because it's relevant now, then it's relevant today. And Jordan, as much as I have to disagree with you, I don't think the show's better than the original movies. But my hot take is I like the actual second and third movie more than the original.
Really?
That's it. Yeah, I love the original. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I love the second one, but I actually do like the third one, even though it's real cheesy. Especially now when you watch Cobra Kai season 2 and how it ties in, you're like, oh, wait a minute, that really ties in to the story. And think about it, they weren't like, oh yeah, in 20 years we're gonna do a Cobra Kai series. They weren't thinking that. No. So that's what I love about these creators of the Cobra Kai is they took the premise of 3 and said, yeah, it's a little obscure, this is a little cheesy. Well, let's tie it into a real story. And you really were like, wait a minute, when he says that line, he goes, I was Cobra Kai. I remember talking to people about it. They're like, what are you talking about? He's never been Cobra Kai. And then they forget, oh, shoot. Yeah, in 3, he went and worked out with Terry Silva, and he was wearing the Cobra Kai colors, and you forget about that. So I love the show. I think they're doing an amazing job. I can't wait for season 3. Mm-hmm. And the creators have talked about it. They have a road that they could take this for a while, and I'm really excited about that. They've said they know where it ends. They know where it ends, but they can take it for a while. So I would be okay with. I think this series should be at least 5 seasons. I don't want to push it. I think 5 seasons is good.
Right. That sounds about right.
And then
I'm really curious to see if they do go to Japan because I wouldn't mind seeing those characters. Like what's Sato's nephew's name? They remember.
I don't remember, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
David Lee, that's the hottest take I've ever heard. Yeah, I said it to Christian. It's funny. I said it to Christian Harloff, and he goes, "You're absolutely crazy." It's not that I don't love Karate Kid 1. It's a great movie. Yeah. What I love about 2 is the love angle, the humanity of that movie, about going back and fixing the past, things like that. What I liked about 3 is they've turned it back into just a straight up martial art. It's about this tournament, and Daniel trying to obey his sensei's wishes, and then turning and not listening and trying to find another way, and in doing that he messes up, and then the sensei still forgives him, and they teach him Takata, which is a great. I don't give a damn that the crane kick. I love it, but you can see that damn thing coming a mile away. The kata is amazing. I love the kata.
Yeah. The third one is the first one I saw in the series. Actually, that was one that made me fall in love with the series. Yeah.
And what I love is they talk about it that any movie that Miyagi was in is open. So Hilton Swank's character and the next Karate Kid. It's in that universe. Well, I think they even said it in the funeral of Miyagi that she was there or something. They brought something up about that. I don't think it's in the story, but I think she might show up. I could go on we could talk about Cobra Kai all day. I'm excited for it. Sorry, Jordan.
Yeah, me too. It's a great show. Great show.
No, season 3 though, or season 3. I mean, Karate Kid 3. Yeah, that I like that one, and actually, I just saw it pretty recently, about a year and a half ago, is when I finally saw the third one. I saw the first 2 when I was a kid, probably back in the 80s, but I just waited so long to see the third one. But I like almost kind of how like Daniel almost becomes like a caretaker of Mr. Miyagi in a lot of ways. But not to say that Miyagi can't take care of himself, but like he really looks out for me. He really wants to sees him as someone that he wants to protect, and he wants to make sure that he gets everything that he deserved and everything that he worked so hard for. And I like how he helps him out with his little greenhouse with all his bonsai trees and all that stuff. I mean, there's some really good moments that I really like, and I wish I wouldn't have waited so long to see the third one. So.
All right. Well, then, what is your? I'm assuming I think I know what your number one is, Jordan.
Yeah, it was the punt. Yeah, my number one is Ron Swanson. Nick Offerman is Ron Swanson. Is just like such an amazing character. Like honestly, like he's like one of my idols of like how to be a man. Like he's just like even just watching even like YouTube videos of him and like seeing like all the woodworking that he does and like the way that he like takes care of his mustache. He grooms it with some whale oils and whatever he like says he does, and just like, and he has so many funny just off the wall lines that like you wouldn't really expect from most characters, but like it fits his character really well, especially his obsession with food, especially meat and like fatty foods and stuff. It's just like I always love that. And probably there's so many awesome moments. I'll just touch on a couple of quick ones, but one of my favorite episodes when he has to like help a little girl study about government so he's like telling her how much he hates government and can't stand it, and at the end he ends up giving her a claymore mine, I guess, as some kind of gift, and it's like you don't give that to a little kid. But then I'm trying to remember what she writes, like what the
how does government work, and her answer is it doesn't.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, she just writes it doesn't, and he looks all proud of it. Yeah, and then also I love the episode where they go to Indianapolis and they have to go over to Chris Trigger's place, but then they go over to Charles Mulligan's Steakhouse and finds out that it's closed down, and he just like starts breaking down, and he like tries to beat the like door in to try and like get in, and he's like what? He's like, I wonder what happened to all of those steaks. Did they even get eaten? I don't I just like he just in like tears. Yeah. He's just like so distraught over it. And then he has to go back to Chris's house and try to like make it do. Because he's like, we can go over there. We can have food that'll be just as good as this place. And they go over there and it's like all this vegetarian crap that he hates. And it's just, it's just so funny. And at one point he starts hyperventilating because instead of steaks on the grill, they have like portobello mushrooms or something weird. Like it's just, it's so good. Yeah, that's just classic. But yeah, Ron Swanson, just like the way that he is, like I especially love the moment when like he says that for Leslie Knope's birthday, he just gives her a crisp $20 bill, but then Leslie always tries to give her something heartfelt, so he gives her the little remote control for both doors, and so he just presses it and he breaks down into tears. He's like, it's so beautiful. Just it's so good.
Yeah.
Oh man, I could just go on about him for hours, but I better let Ben.
Yeah. All right, Ben. The moment of truth.
Your turn.
You're number one.
My number one. Started as a teacher, ended up as a drug lord kingpin. Walter White, aka Heisenberg.
Yeah.
Nice.
It'll go side by side with my Jesse.
Like, what can I say? I loved the dynamic between him and Jesse. I love the evolution between this mild-mannered science teacher and this evil, not evil, but this villain type person who ends up being a monster cooking meth. I love it. And what can I say? My favorite moment? Say my name.
Yep. That is a powerful moment.
That's one of the most iconic moments from that show, yeah.
Yeah. I love this character. What are your guys' thoughts on him?
You know, like I said, I've never seen the series, but yeah, he's definitely an iconic character. And I understand why he's your number one. Yeah, there's just something about him. Plus it's a complete turn for Bryan Cranston, because we all knew him as the dad from Malcolm in the Middle, and then to see this, you're like, this dude's got chops. Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. What about I am the danger, Skylar? I am the danger.
Another great line.
Yep.
Another.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is so good.
What are your thoughts on it, Sugar?
What was that?
I
Sorry.
said, what are your thoughts on Walter White?
Okay, so don't hate me for this. Do not hate me for this. I actually
Me
did
neither.
not watch
So we're in the same boat.
We did not. I did not watch Breaking Bad. I wasn't a Breaking Bad fan. I literally was like not even interested in it because I've been around drugs my whole life.
So it hits
and so praising drugs, praising drugs really is not my thing. No, that doesn't mean I'm gonna say here, oh, why are you getting? No, you watch what you want. I've heard good things about it. I've seen clips. I've seen clips of Breaking Bad that was interested in. I was like, oh shit, what happened there? But I never was just like, oh, I'm gonna sit down and watch this. So that's never been me.
I get it. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
all right,
actually,
well, that brings it in. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jordan.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, actually, it took my wife quite a while to actually get into it. We finally ended up watching it, but like probably like at least like about a year, because she grew up around a lot of drugs too. She had a really rough background and stuff. So I remember she watched the first episode and she's like, I don't want to watch this. This is just too heavy.
Yeah.
Like I just don't know if I can do it, because I've seen all this happen firsthand. So it's just kind of like she didn't want to watch it, but eventually she gave in. But I had to kind of wait for her to be ready for it on her own time.
And I totally get it. Yeah.
It's a heavy show. It really is a heavy show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shows that are out there that are heavy. Some people just. It's not that I'm not a fan. I just never watched it. So maybe Ben, maybe I should give it a try. I'm gonna ask. Should I give it a try?
I say yes, but
okay.
Yeah.
I trust your judgment.
Yeah, I too will eventually get around to watching it. So that brings an end to this week's favorite segment. So as usual, we will reveal what next week's topic is. So Ben, is your time. Your turn this week.
Right.
Top 5 trilogies.
Oh,
okay. Top 5 trilogies?
Yeah.
Wait, top 5. You said top 5 trilogies.
Yeah.
Am I being invited back on the show next week so I can be a part of this? Top 5 trilogy? No. That's amazing. Wow.
You're always welcome, Shug.
God damn it.
That's a good one. I like it.
Hard.
Yeah.
There's some good trilogies. Well, are we talking? Okay, so let me ask you a question. There's trilogies, but then there's movies that come after it. Does that count? Obviously, Indiana Jones.
Rocky.
Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would consider 2, 3, and 4 of the Rocky one of the best trilogies of Rocky.
Yeah.
I love 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
The lone ones. Everybody's marketing it as a trilogy and counts.
Okay.
So like Indiana Jones that doesn't count.
Toy Story does not count.
What?
Toy Story will not count.
Toy Story counts. Absolutely.
There's 4.
Yeah, but it came out after 1, 2, and 3 is a great trilogy. Why not?
Yeah.
Oh! Okay, I see where you're getting at. Okay.
Yeah, so you're saying like Indiana Jones, the first 3 is a great trilogy, just don't count 4, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Rocky 1, 2, and 3 is a great trilogy, but 4 makes it better.
Yeah, right.
I love Rocky 4. Okay, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, it's gonna do.
Yeah, that's When's that coming out?
November.
Do you play? I know you watch Schmodown. Did you play the Rocky expedition match between Gucci and Christian?
Yeah.
How'd you do?
I missed one question.
I saw that.
You missed one question? I thought I did good. I tied Christian.
I missed one question, and it was the one on the payoff for the first film.
What was the question?
It was how much does Rocky make from this fight? Is what it was, and it was referenced to the first film. I believe it was for the first film, but that's the only one I missed. Was how was a money question.
Okay. I have my results written down. I just don't remember where I put them.
Yeah.
Are you excited about the Roca versus Christian one?
Yes, I cannot wait.
Matt, we should do a play along. You and me should do a play along. We should absolutely do a play along for it. Let's do it.
I'm game.
I want to do a play along with you because I'm a huge Rocky fan.
Yeah, me too. Favorite franchise, hands down. Yeah, I'll take you up on that offer.
For sure.
Okay,
so yeah, that's great. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, that pretty much brings it an end, and I'm definitely taking you up on that offer. I can't wait. Can't wait to do that. So before we go, Shug, if you wouldn't mind pointing everybody into the direction of where you are at.
Yeah, you can find me at Shug9323 on Twitter. Obviously, you can find me at the Let's Get Ready to Talk Schmodown podcast with Justin Ferris and Bador. We do a show every Friday. We were doing it Wednesday and Friday, but depending on matches and pay-per-view, we're probably going to do a show this Wednesday. So check us out there. Like I said, after I'm done with you guys, I'm going to probably eat, and then I'm going to jump on Twitch and play some Magic the Gathering and probably some Tony Hawk. And that you can find at the Let's Get Ready MTS Twitch account. But yeah, you can always find me anywhere, and if you want to talk sports or talk nerd stuff, I'm always down to do that.
Okay, right on. And Jordan, where are you at?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jordan83616, and then also on Facebook at Jordan Anderson21. And then you can also find me in the Media Sweaties group, throwing up some polls. We've been going every day, 5 theme songs at a time. We're trying to determine what the greatest TV theme song of all time is. So we're voting. We're putting 5 against each other every day, and then we just vote, and the winner moves on to round 2, and we'll keep going until we get to number 1. So
Full House.
Full House. No, Thundercats.
Fresh Prince.
Thundercats was amazing.
Yeah,
Fresh Prince is a good one.
Yeah,
Fresh Prince is a good one.
It's on throwing out.
What about Big Bang Theory? I've always loved theirs.
It's a good song, especially the expanded version. Bare Naked Ladies, Canada
Bare Naked Ladies, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Perfect Strangers. Nothing's gonna stop me now.
Oh yeah. It's a classic.
Yeah, I binged that during quarantine. That was fun.
Nice.
So, all right, Ben, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, find me on Twitter at BenRainer2, and I'm in the Media Sweaties Facebook group a lot, so you can find me there. And I might be working on something Schmodown related, so I'll let you know if there's something to announce.
Nice. Right on. And you can find me over at Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can find me over on the Schmoes in the North Facebook page and YouTube channel, where every week we bring to you our thoughts on the latest matches. And we also have interviews with players and people involved with the league. Recently, we just dropped the interview I did with Kevin Smets, and we dropped the interview that Louis did with Brennan the Kid Myers. So be sure to check those out.
Awesome.
Yes.
Love it.
All right. And with that being said, thank you for joining us, those who have, on our very first live stream. Hope to bring some more to you soon. Until then, stay sweaty, everybody.
Stay sweaty.
Stay sweaty.